Move over, Thanos, there's a new cosmic baddie in town. But what makes the Devourer of Worlds so much scarier than the Mad Titan?
Thanos is the most powerful being in the universe.
Not anymore.
Thanos' cosmic nature is part of what makes him so terrifying.
I am inevitable.
The Mad Titan has spent much of his existence traveling the stars, and so there's always a pretty good chance that he'll call on some new, unexpected threat to bring down Earth's mightiest heroes. Compared to Galactus though, Thanos might as well be a basement dweller. When Galactus was first born, he was a denizen of the planet Tar, named Galin. Unfortunately for Galin and his people, the multiverse in which Tar existed was coming to an end. Galin tried to save his people, but they, and everything else, succumbed to the plague known as the Black Winter. Before Galen's entire reality ceased to exist, however, the sentience of the sixth cosmos merged with Galen's body, uniting the two beings to become Galactus. Basically, this means that Galactus both survived the fall of his own multiverse and existed throughout the one inhabited by most Marvel superheroes. Thanos' own life story is chump change in comparison. If Galactus were an ordinary mortal, then his prolonged lifespan and millennia of experience wouldn't be quite so scary. After all, there's only so much a person can remember at any given time. So, who cares if the guy came from an older multiverse? Thing is, Galactus also happens to possess a truly towering intellect. Before he fused with the sentience of the sixth cosmos, Galin had been a scientist and explorer with an inquisitive mind and plenty of skills. After the fusion, he gained access to the power cosmic. The source of unimaginable energy gave him enhanced intelligence and near total knowledge of the workings of the universe. The power cosmic also provided Galactus with a bunch of other abilities, but we'll get to them later.
Patience.
Obviously, the Marvel Universe is home to many geniuses, or genii, or whatever. Generally though, Reed Richards is seen as the benchmark for human superintelligence, but even Mr. Fantastic has often found himself stumped by Galactus' intellectual prowess. While exploring Galactus' spaceship, for example, Reed and the other members of the Fantastic Four discover technology that they can't even begin to comprehend. This is the kind of stuff that would change the course of any mortal civilization, if Galactus didn't hoard it all for himself, that is. Here's another reason why Galactus is a much scarier threat than Thanos. See this guy? He's pretty big, right? But this guy, yeah, you see where we're going with this.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Setting aside all their powers, minions, and special equipment, Galactus has a clear physical advantage over Thanos. In the comics, Galactus is absolutely massive. He tends to stand at almost 30 feet and weighs more than 16 tons. Though he actually has the power to change his size at will, he once grew so big that he was able to wrestle with the literal sun. As such, Galactus doesn't technically need to use any of his powers to crush the insects that cross his path. While there's been plenty of chatter about Galactus' relatively small size in the first trailer for the Fantastic Four First Steps, it's worth remembering that there's a good chance he's simply shrinking so as to better move around on Earth. And even if this is Galactus at maximum size, well, he's still about 100 times larger than old Purple Chins. Galactus is perfectly capable of traversing open space on his own, but he prefers to conserve his energy, so he usually jets around in a mile-wide spherical starship that's capable of interdimensional travel. The crown jewel of his fleet, however, is a so-called Worldship, otherwise named Tar-2, in tribute to Galactus' lost homeworld. Galactus' Worldship is mind-bogglingly big. It even has its own gravitational pull. It's just about the most intimidating deep space object you could ever lay your eyes on, in fact, though he didn't just build it to be flashy. Tar-2 actually serves as a base of operations for Galactus, allowing him to continue his scientific research and missions. To that end, the ship features all kinds of bells and whistles, including an intergalactic zoo where Galactus keeps animals from the various worlds he's devoured. In short, the Worldship is a sick ride, and it puts Thanos' sanctuary starships to shame. Like heroes, villains are often defined by their motives. Thanos isn't just scary because he's a powerful warrior with an infinity gauntlet. He's scary because he's dead set on destroying half of the universe.
The hardest choices require the strongest wills.
That said, he has his reasons for doing so. The MCU version of the character believes that he can solve the universe's many problems by cutting its population in half. The comic book version wants to cause mass deaths so that he can impress Death herself. Galactus doesn't operate in the same way though. He isn't driven by a moral code or an emotional impulse. The real reason that Galactus tears through the universe, consuming entire planets, is because he needs to. Planets are the only source of fuel for Galactus' massive body and his cosmic powers. This means that you usually can't reason with Galactus, and there's nothing you can offer him that will make him stop. In some ways, Galactus is a victim of his own powers because even if he wanted to stop killing, he couldn't. Essentially, he's more like an unstoppable force of cosmic destruction than a standard supervillain, and isn't that much scarier? The true source of Galactus' abilities is the power cosmic. This is the essence of the sixth cosmos' sentience, which had previously melded with the once mortal being called Galen. Without the power cosmic, Galactus would never have existed. With it, his powers are nearly limitless. Think back to some of the most impressive feats Thanos carried out during the MCU's Infinity Saga. He used the power of the Infinity Stones to transform reality around the Guardians of the Galaxy, for example, and crash an entire moon onto Iron Man. Pretty cool, right? Well, Galactus is more than capable of doing all that and more. And he doesn't need rocks to do them either.
We actually got a lot of those. Yeah, some of the guys use them as paperweights.
With the power cosmic, Galactus can shape reality to his will, teleport himself across space and time, and even create life itself. The power cosmic also grants Galactus almost complete understanding of everything in the universe, meaning virtually nothing exists beyond his knowledge. On top of that, Galactus can grant his heralds access to the power cosmic, making his henchmen stronger than most Marvel heroes. Infinity Gauntlet? Who needs it? Most Marvel villains are destined to spend most of their free time fighting for our entertainment, and Galactus has taken on some seriously impressive foes over the years. Of course, ending entire civilizations is basically his day job, so it should come as no surprise to learn that he can crush entire enemies with ease. More impressive, perhaps, is the fact that he once held his own in a war with the gods of Asgard, and in Fantastic Four number 603, he even killed a Celestial. Because they have access to the power cosmic, Galactus' heralds can be just as strong as he is. The Silver Surfer, for example, once fought two perennial gods at once and managed to kill them both, albeit narrowly. The only thing that slows Galactus and his heralds down is energy loss, but even this can be mitigated. When he knows there's a big battle coming, Galactus will consume multiple planets to charge up his resources. At that point, there's basically no force in the universe that can stand up to him, Thanos included.
All that you know is at an end.
As terrifying as Galactus might be, most of his victims will never see him face to face. Galactus spends much of his time living on Tar-2, and so his minions tend to do the dirty work for him. Galactus' heralds are his most recognizable servants, and they're almost as terrifying as the big man himself. The heralds can channel the same energy that fuels Galactus' own powers, so any of them can battle Galactus' enemies on their own. They also tend to have their own set of powers or extraterrestrial abilities, which set them apart from most even before they're chosen to serve Galactus. But the heralds aren't the only helping hand that Galactus has on board Tar-2. The Devourer of Worlds also utilizes a legion of robots called Punishers, which are made with alien technology from a world long since destroyed. Thanos has his own team of loyal helpers, of course, a group of formidable aliens known as the Black Order.
In all the time I've served Thanos, I have never failed him.
Powerful as they may be, though, Thanos' generals are no match for those that serve Galactus. The Watchers aren't really known for getting involved in fights, but stranger things have happened in the grand cosmic history of the Marvel Universe. A long time ago, the Watchers gave a lesser race called the Priscilicans a helping hand by providing them with nuclear technology. Unfortunately, instead of using this tech for good, the Priscilicans used it to wage war, first among themselves and then on other planets. As a result, the Watcher Mnu created the ultimate Nullifier to bring the war to a sudden end. With one shot, the ultimate Nullifier wiped out almost all of the Priscilicans and destroyed 90% of the known universe. The Fantastic Four first learn about the Ultimate Nullifier when Johnny Storm finds it on Galactus' ship. They successfully threaten Galactus with the weapon to prevent him from consuming the Earth. And after that, it comes in and out of play on multiple occasions. The Ultimate Nullifier is even more devastating than the Infinity Gauntlet, and could arguably be called the most dangerous weapon in the entire Marvel Universe. Galactus keeps it on Tar-2, partly to protect himself, but also to defend the rest of the universe against greater threats. So you now know that Galactus is an even bigger deal than Thanos, but it's also worth knowing that he'll still be around long after the Mad Titan is gone. In Fantastic Four number 262, Reed Richards is put on trial by the Galactic Tribunal because he spared Galactus' life in a previous encounter. Reed admits to the crime, and he confesses that he's filled with guilt knowing that Galactus will inevitably consume another world. However, Reed also reveals he's discovered that Galactus plays an important role in the universe's ecosystem. A Watcher speaks up to agree with Reed, and then Galactus himself appears, summoning the being Eternity to explain that his role in the universe is greater than anyone can imagine. Reed's son, Franklin, later develops a unique relationship with Galactus, after becoming immortal himself in FF issue 16. An adult Franklin Richards and Galactus commiserate over the fact that they'll one day watch the end of the universe together. Galactus explains that he always knew he'd outlive the universe, and that he has spent much of his life fearing he would have to go through it alone. So, why exactly is Galactus so important to the universe? Well, let's say you're standing in Times Square looking up as Galactus looms over the Earth. The planet is about to be eaten, when who should fly onto the scene but the Fantastic Four? Then, during the battle, the heroes actually somehow manage to kill Galactus once and for all. Groovy, right?
Okay.
Just as you begin to celebrate, however, a much bigger, scarier being known as Abraxas rises up and wipes the entire multiverse from existence. Oh well, better luck next time, reality. The thing is, as inconvenient as it may be for the planet he's about to munch on, Galactus needs to be left alive in order to prevent an even worse fate from unfolding. Abraxas is a twisted cosmic entity driven to destroy all of creation, and it's only Galactus' immense power that prevents him from being unleashed. The moment Galactus dies, Abraxas will be freed, bringing death and destruction on an unimaginable scale, by which point you'll probably be wishing Thanos had turned up on Earth instead.